guys, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so for today's video, we're going to be doing the mid-month wrap-up for August, for the first 2 weeks of August, all the books that I read. So let's just dive right into it. First book that I read in the month of August was The Four Leaf by Jacquot. That's probably totally wrong, so I'm only gonna try that once, and that's all you're gonna get. I love this book. This is a friends to lovers story. It has primal play, which was super hot. I did find it frustrating. I was like, okay, you need to tell him, he needs to tell her, like just communicate. But it was a novella, and it was building tension and angst, and you were getting backstory, and it was super good. Like right after I finished reading it, I was like 5 stars. But the more I started thinking about it, I was like, you know what, chill out, bitch. I gave it 4 stars. It was really good, and I love Lee's writing. Like her writing, it just hits for me, and I love her novellas, and this one just hit the spot. Next book that I read was Run Rabbit by CM Nascosta. Listen, I've read a couple of things by CM Nascosta. I read The Milking Farm, I read Girls Weekend, and they were cute. Okay, they were cute, fluffy monster romances. Now, I read this one because it had just recently came out, and girl, this was so good. Like, I didn't know what I was missing in this. I want to say it's like Omega-verse, but I'm not quite sure, but it has those qualities. Like, they're both werewolves. There's a heat cycle. There's nodding. There's breeding. There's just a whole lot of good shit in this novella. Like, I low-key wish that it was longer, but it is novella length, and this does not have a traditional HEA. The main hero is an asshole. The main female character is just a badass, but she like gives right back to the hero, and they have this banter and this tension and this just heat. There's mating marks, and girl, this book was just so good. Like at some points I was confused because of the writing and like the layout that she had it, but the whole time that I was reading it, like I binged it. Like I just was blown away. I need to get into more werewolf romances. I need to dive into that, okay? Let me know down below any like Omega-verse werewolf shifter books, because I am so down to read them. Like where I've read some before, but it was so long ago, and it was mostly like on AO3. But no, like I need some more recommendations. So leave them down below if this is what you're into and you know a couple of books that you think that I would like. Anyways, I gave it 5 stars. I don't know if I let you guys know that, but I did. That's how much I loved it. Low-key wish it did have a happier ending, and it is a dark novella, and I would for sure look up trigger warnings. This is not for everybody. I also wish that it was more of a monogamous relationship, but it's really not, because it's not your traditional romance. It's completely different, but it just worked in this case. 5 stars, definitely recommend. Look up trigger warnings though. It is a dark romance. Next book that I read was Santa Baby by Cassie. I gave this book 3 stars. I am going through her backlist. I know this is a Christmas novella. Best believe when Christmas rolls around, I will be recommending her novellas, because they just have this nice Christmas theme, and it's just straight smut, and it's cute, and it's just an elevated version of Jessica Kane. But you know, it was good. I liked it. Then I read The Gift by Cassie. This one is also Christmas related. I gave it 3 stars as well. It had a virgin hero, and it's Grumpy Sunshine. It was really good. 3 stars. Next book that I read was Dark Prince by Feehan. This is my rereading era of the Dark series. I can't tell you how much I love this book. I gave it 4 stars. I don't think I've ever rated this book, because every other time that I've read it, I've just loved it. And on this reread, it had been so long that I just dove right in, and it was just so good, and I decided to give it a 4 stars because I felt like it didn't deserve a 5 star. There were some things that I was just like, I wish it was better. But overall, I can't give it less than 4 stars, because this book just holds so much nostalgia for me, and I just missed the Carpathian world, and Raven and Mikkel just are the it couple. Like, this is, if you like mated couples, these books are for you, because they have their mate. They are called life mates, and these men are like obsessed with their mates, protective and possessive and just sweet, but also like dominant. And It is so good. Just the way that they feel, that you see them feeling for their mates and what their mates do for them, and just how high they hold their mates. Like, they put them on a pedestal and like the world revolves around them. And I just loved it. I can't wait to get to the second book. I haven't started that one. I don't know when I will get to it, but it was amazing. I loved it. 4 stars. Next book that I read was Room 10 Lights, Camera, Action by Cassie Mint. This one I gave 3 stars. This was a little wild. This is a polyamorous relationship. It's about our main female character. She has 3 bodyguards that she's in love with, and her uncle is part of some type of organization or whatever, and he puts his uncle and niece. Yeah, I think the uncle puts the female main character for auction for her virginity, and she's like, well, I'm not gonna listen to him. I have to lose my virginity, and she does it with all 3 of her bodyguards. So yeah, it was a good time. Then I read The Coach by Cassie Mint and The Tutor by Cassie Mint. I gave both of these 3 stars. I read these 2 just because they were part of that one series that I've already read. I didn't know that there were more in it, so I ended up just catching up and finishing them up. Cute novellas. 3 stars. Then I read Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. This one was super hyped up for me just because it's Sophie Lark. I've never read anything by her, and from what I've been told, I needed to start with the Brutal Birthright series. I've just been wanting to, and it just so happened to be in August where I start her Brutal Birthright series. So this book is about Ada and Callum. I bet you guys already know, but they get set up into an arranged marriage because Ada sets Callum's office / library on fire, and she ends up stealing something. First of all, Ada is a bad bitch, okay? She's a no fucks given type of girl. I loved her from the minute the book started. I was just like, she is my girl. She is my type of girl. Callum, he is just a dominant alpha male that takes no shit. He knows that he's on the top of the food chain and like nothing's gonna bring him down, but wait till he fucking meets Ada, because girl, okay. So they get set into this arranged marriage, and Ada and Callum do not want to get married, but they need to settle things between the different families. So they end up getting married. Killing each other ensues, okay? Ada tries to kill Callum. Callum tries to kill Ada, and vice versa. There's a lot of action. There is plot. There is smut. The smut is really good. I gave this book 4 stars. There were a couple of things that brought my rating down. First thing is that it doesn't feel like a mafia dark romance to me. It felt more like, I don't know how to explain this. It wasn't giving mafia. It was giving more like Callum's family was rich and had connections, and he was going up in the political world. And yes, he does illegal things, but it was very much just rich, white, powerful men. And then Ada's family felt more like I guess their family felt more mafia, but in the book, Sophie calls them like they're a gang, they're gangsters, which it gives very much of, but it wasn't giving me mafia. And it was very modern. Like, it was a modern romance. Like, there was some things mentioned in this book, and like whenever it got mentioned, I was like, what am I reading? Like, so I had to lower my expectations, because when I first picked up this book, I was going in there for mafia dark romance. Okay, I thought that's what it was gonna be, but it wasn't giving that, so I had to dog a few points for that. And also, when I finished the book, I was left feeling like I wanted more. Very much more of Ada and Callum's relationship. I wanted to see more relationship building. And then when I finished the book, I was like, wow, like how long was this book? And I ended up looking it up, and it's like 300 plus pages, and I was like, I was shook that it was so long when it didn't feel like that. One, because her books are so easy to read. I love her writing, and I will definitely be continuing this series. Like, don't get me wrong, like I loved it, but it was very much like enemies to lovers in the beginning, and then there was sex, and then there was action, there was plot, there was more sex, and then it was like HEA. It was like they had come to terms with them not hating each other anymore, so they were gonna be in a relationship, but I didn't see the falling in love part. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there were moments where you could tell and you could see it and like read it from the character's thoughts, but I wanted to see it, if that makes sense. And I wish there was more of that, and there wasn't enough of that for me. and that's why I didn't get a 5 stars. And it was a 300 plus page book, so I feel like she could have, you know, accomplished that in the book, but it's all about pacing. But honestly, those are the only reasons why it didn't get a 5 star, but it was still a 4 star and I still loved it. And just Sophie Lark's female main characters and her heroes are just amazing, top tier. Writing is easy, the book is bingeable, it is page turning. It's like, that's why I felt like I read it so fast. I was like, how many pages are in this? But enough of that. I gave it 4 stars. It was really good. I can't wait to get to the second book. It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it is Callum's youngest sister. She gets kidnapped, and I am here for it. Okay, so I will be reading that one next. Moving on, then I read The Fall by Jenika Snow. This book actually came out August 1st. This is the most recent release in her werewolf series. This one I gave 3 stars. It's very smutty. The plot was kind of confusing, but I mean, like, I get how it had happened, and maybe she was introducing more characters. It felt very novella for me, even though it's not a novella length, but that's what it was very much giving. But I really enjoyed it, and I liked the main female character. I can't remember her name. I can't remember the guy's name either, so there's that. I will be continuing to read this series as the books come out, but I haven't had a 4 star from this series in a minute. So yeah, it was okay. It was a good time. I had fun reading it, but 3 stars. Next, I read Taking What's Mine by Alexa Riley. This one I gave 3 stars. This was by the recommendation of the Book Refuge. Check trigger warnings. This is just a novella. And when I was watching the Book Refuge's video, she did say, like, at the end, she kind of spoiled it, so I kind of don't want to say it. But at the end, it, like, switches up, and, like, it's not as dark as you would think. It's just more of a kink of the girl. Anyways, I don't want to say too much, but it is a novella. Check trigger warnings. It was kind of hot, kind of good. It's just smut, okay? And it was just a good time. I don't know what else really to say about this book, but 3 stars. Then I read Ruthless Creatures by J.T. Geissinger. Okay, this is another one that is really hyped up, the Queens and Monsters series by J.T. Geissinger. This is the first book. This is the only book that has an alternative cover, which makes me so sad because I love this series so far, and I wish that I could get them in paperback. I do have Ruthless Creatures as an ebook. I think it was free at some point. I don't think it's still free, but I have that on my Kindle. But all of the books in the Queens and Monsters series are on KU, so you can read them from there. So in this Ruthless Creatures, you follow Natalie and Cage. Cage is the perfect book boyfriend. He is like too perfect. And Natalie she has been through a lot. Her fiance went missing on the day of their wedding, and he has been missing for more than 5 years now, and she has been grieving a lot. When you first get into the book, it was very unexpected. I didn't think there would be talk of grief, and I mean, well, no, because I didn't read the synopsis, so I didn't know what the fuck I was getting into. But there's a lot of talk of grief. Check trigger warnings. There is suicide ideation. There is just dark elements here in the beginning. I don't want to say Natalie is an alcoholic, but she drinks a lot of alcohol because it helps her like numb herself. So you do with that what you will. None of those things though made me like her any less. Just made me appreciate her more because she had been through a lot and she was still there. Like, she was still standing, she was still going through it, you know, going through life. And she has this best friend Sloan where they are like the perfect best friends. Like, their relationship is just amazing. J.T. Geissinger knows how to do banter. Like, I love the conversation that Natalie and Sloan have, and Natalie and Cage have. So Cage is sent to Natalie's area. It's very small town vibes, and Sloan sees him first, and Sloan tries to get with him at the bar while Natalie and her are at this bar, and he rejects her. Natalie and Cage do have a moment, like when she's coming out of the bathroom, and then at the end of their girls' night, she learns that Cage is her next door neighbor, so she asks him for a ride home, and he rejects her. And there is just so much tension, so much angst. There is just, you can feel the push and pull between them, and Natalie hasn't felt that towards any man since her ex-fiance. So yeah, there's something there. That's the premise of the book. There is plot, which I thought I was gonna guess, but I didn't. But there's action, there's plot, you get dual POV, but Cage's POV is very much like a page or two, where you get to see his thoughts, and all his thoughts are basically he's obsessed with Natalie and he just has to have her, and he is basically the second in command in the Russian Bratva, the Russian mafia or whatever. It is smutty. It is a good time, okay? The mouth on Cage is just like, I was loving it, okay? I was loving it throughout the whole book. I loved J.T. Geissinger's writing. I loved the pace of the book. I loved everything that happened in the book. There was never a moment where I was not having a good time. I did give this book 4.5 stars, but I did round it up to a 5-star. So it's giving very much more 5-star than it is 4-star. That's why I'm rounding it up to 5 stars, but it is a 4.5. It is not a 5-star. There was a couple of things that happened in the book, that's why it's not a 5-star. It felt very insta-lovey for me in the beginning. Like that's what it gave. It gave insta love. And then another part was where in the beginning, like I said, you get to see her grief and how much she was grieving, that she was grieving so hard, and she was so sad that she felt like she didn't want to be on earth anymore. Like she was going through it. And then when she meets Cage, there's this moment before they get together where she thinks about her ex-fiance, and she's like, I can't believe I was with a man who does this. I can't believe I was with him when he does this and this and this and that, right? So she was kind of comparing, or she was like looking back on her ex-fiance and pointing out things that she was just like, I can't believe I was with him because of this, you know? So those two parts, I was like, I don't know about that. But it was still overall a great book, a great introduction to the series. It is just chef's kiss, and Cage is just, he is perfect. He really is. That's probably another reason why I didn't give 5 stars, because he just seemed too good to be true. And I don't know if that's just my trauma speaking, but it just gave very much that. But it was a great introduction to J.T. Geissinger. And speaking of which, I loved Ruthless Creatures so much that I jumped right into Carnal Urges. So for Carnal Urges by J.T. Geissinger, I gave this one 5 stars. This one was so good. I loved this one. This one is about Sloane and Declan, and Declan is just perfection as well. I feel like all of J.T. Geisinger's men are gonna be perfect. He is just so good. And he's from the Irish mafia. They kidnapped Sloane because they say she started the war that is happening, and just Sloane's attitude, her personality, the way that she is just so charming, the banter back and forth, how fearless she is, that like literally nothing can knock her down. I just love her so much. And this one, yeah, she gets kidnapped, so captive. Declan ends up stepping up to be the actual boss of the Irish mafia because the leader dies or whatever. Declan refuses to like Sloane. He's just like, he doesn't understand what everybody sees in her, because she can charm everybody and anybody, and she charms all of his guards, and the guards all fall in love with her. And I like how she has them wrapped around her finger, and I was just like, as you should, bitch. As you should. But Declan takes a little bit longer, but when you're in his point of view, you see him struggle to like not like her and want her, but eventually they do get together, and Sloane has to let down her walls. And I just loved seeing that, and I loved that she was just so into Declan the way that she was never into any of the other guys. It is just so good. It's so much better than the first one, but the first one was so good too, so like it just gets better. But I'm here for the 3rd book. I haven't started it yet because I need to read a different book, but I just can't wait to finish this series. There's only 4 books, so I'm for sure going to be diving back in. 5 stars for Carnal Urges by J.T. Geissinger. It is so good. The plot twist in this one was crazy. I was not expecting it. I thought it was really, really well done. I was entertained the whole time. It was really good. I just flew through the book. That's how easy they are to read. They are binge worthy. They have the perfect amount of smut, the perfect amount of relationship building. There is communication. It's very giving it's giving very much dom sub, especially in Carnal Urges as well as in Ruthless Creatures. There is just amazing plot twist, just overall great book. I loved it so much. 5 stars. And that is the last book that I have for the first half of August. I read 13 books. That is not too bad, and I have been loving most of the books that I've been reading, and I can't wait to read more. I can't wait till the end of August and film that other half wrap up. Let me know down below a book so far that you've been loving in August, or what is your current read. I would love to know. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.